Arteries, veins, capillaries, blood flow, oxygen supply, nutrient supply. Welcome to my garden artery. This is my driveway, which is technically the artery or vein that heads me to my home. And I'm using it today as an example or an analogy in my garden that things have to be free flowing. If there were big rocks in my driveway, we wouldn't be able to drive up the driveway. If there were big holes in the driveway and potholes, it would be uncomfortable to drive up the driveway. This is obviously a private country road, but it's tarred, it's sealed so that when it's muddy or when it's raining or when we've got challenges with the weather, that it's easy to drive on the road. And I'm sharing that with you because if your arteries are blocked, if your veins and capillaries aren't getting oxygen supply, blood flow, nutrient supply through your body, is it possible that's why we're sick and diseased? So we talk about type 2 diabetes, for example, and people say, what is that? But if I were to wrap that up into a big package, a very sad package, unfortunately, your veins and arteries are clogged and blocked. So if I've got damage to my arteries, and that happens, you'll often hear type 2 diabetes is caused by too much sugar. Well, technically that's true because a sugar molecule, a glucose molecule, is quite big. And the example we always use at our house is it's the semi-trailer driving on a country road. If I ride my bike on this road, I'm not going to wreck the road. Even if I drive a small car on this road, I'm not going to wreck the road. But if I drive a semi-trailer on this road, and we've got a couple of big holes in this road already from semi-trailers that have screwed up our road, then because the road's damaged and there's big potholes in the road, now that can fill up with water, the road can rot away. Well, technically that's what happens inside the body. The big glucose molecules, the big semi-trailers, if they stay in your bloodstream, they cause damage to your arteries. They put nicks and cuts and gouges in your arteries. And of course, when you've got nicks and cuts and gouges, cholesterol, that cloggy stuff, now cholesterol's nothing wrong with cholesterol, but when it's clogging up your arteries, it causes cardiovascular disease. It causes stroke, it causes cancer, it causes a heart attack, it causes type 2 diabetes. So technically if you say, well, I've got all these diseases, they're really only caused by one thing: clogged up highways, clogged up streets, clogged up driveways. So how do we make sure that those glucose molecules are flowing freely and they get out of your bloodstream really quickly, get into your muscles where you need them, because muscles run on glycogen, which is glucose, get to your brain, which runs on glucose. It's this thing about carbohydrate being a bad thing or sugar being a bad thing. It is a terrible thing if it stays in your bloodstream and you've got high blood sugar levels. I'm sure you've heard that, which is a precursor to type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is when your arteries get clogged and busted and broken. Cholesterol sits inside those cuts and bruises and gouges and clogs up your blood supply, oxygen supply, so your body doesn't work properly. Now that can be a stroke to your brain, it can be a heart attack, it can be that you're not getting circulation to your toes and your fingers, so you have to get them cut off. The biggest cause of amputation in the world now is type 2 diabetes, lack of blood flow, circulation, nutrient supply to your extremities. And that just makes sense, doesn't it? Because if your body needs to stay alive, and it'll do everything it possibly can to stay alive, and it can't get blood flow to your heart, it'll do everything it can to get to your heart. So it'll cut it off to your extremities. So you lose your feet, you lose your legs, you lose your fingers, you lose your arms. It's a horrible thing. You go blind. One of the biggest causes of blindness now in the world is type 2 diabetes, clogged arteries, because you're not getting blood supply to your eyes. A big cause of erectile dysfunction. One of the most horrible things to happen to a man is to lose his ability to create pleasure for himself and for his partner. And that happens when you've got a body that's unfit and unhealthy. You're not getting blood supply to the right places. So that's the challenge. But it's a simple process, and that's why I'm here today. You can see my driveway is graded. I grade my own driveway with my own rake and my own pick. I don't have somebody come in and do it for me, because the harder I work, the more puffed I get, the more I clear the dirt out of my driveway. Your body works exactly the same way. The more puffed you get, the fitter you are, the more sugar you burn, the quicker you get those big glucose molecules out of your bloodstream and into your muscles where you can use them and into your brain where you can use them. Now, there's also another chemical response that I find really exciting, is when you work at 100% effort, your body uses supply of oxygen, supply of nutrients, supply of energy directly from your muscle. So the phosphate system, you're using stored phosphates inside your muscles, which means when you use that up, your body then says, well, we need to replace that. We need to replenish that process. So we need to get more glucose back into the muscles. We need to get glucose to the brain so the brain's stronger for next time. So it's pretty simple. Get fit and get strong. Lift heavy, get puffed. Have a body that's healthy, fit and strong. And healthy goes with fit and strong. When you're really, really fit and really, really strong, are you more likely to be healthy? Now, there's a bit of a sad side note there because there's a lot of people that look good. They've got ripped abdominals and tight butt cheeks, but they're not very healthy. And is that possible, or is it possible that they're not healthy because they're not getting puffed to 100% effort? They're just doing enough to have a lean body, so they're going for a long time. And I just cannot understand that. People that plod, jog for hours, walk for hours, go to the gym for hours, apart from the fact that I've got better things to do with my time than sit and be in a place that's got air-conditioned air and an artificial lighting. None of that makes any sense to me. Get outside, get some fresh air, get puff, lift heavy, and as I always share, your muscles and bones are blind. They don't know whether you're lifting a rock or a log or a wheelbarrow full of sand, and I've got to tell you, if I push my wheelbarrow up that hill full of sand or rocks or logs, it's a bloody good workout, and I don't have to go to the gym to do it. And I'm sharing that with you because I don't want to have the cause of disease. And the biggest cause of disease in the world right now is inactivity. And inactivity then causes high blood sugar levels, which is those big molecules inside your bloodstream causing damage, which cholesterol can stick to, clogs up your arteries, and you have a heart attack, you have a stroke, you go blind, you have an amputation, your sexual organs don't work effectively, all the horrible things that happen when your body's clogged up with junk. So clear it out, get fit, get strong, get nutrients, oxygen supply, blood supply to all the places they're supposed to go, because how else could you live your life to the max? I'm going to work in my garden today, living my life to the max. Check out my artery to my house. It's my driveway. Woohoo! Clear up the arteries, clear up the driveway and check out the mountain. Woohoo!